back to the 20-hour ukulele challenge, and today we're going to work on The Judge by 21 Pilots. So this is going to be a lesson that's kind of simplified. It's made easier for beginners. The real version of this song, the record's got a lot of twisty stuff on it, which I'll teach in the next lesson if you want to know it. I'm going to start out with sort of an easy version if you're kind of more of a beginner, or if you want to kind of learn like the outline of the whole thing. So let's get right down to it. So there are three main parts in this. There's a verse, a pre-chorus, and a chorus, and then they kind of get jumbled around in the rest of the song. So we're going to focus on the first three parts, and then we'll expand on the rest of it later. So there are 4 chords in the verse. You start with A minor, use the middle finger on the 2nd fret of the 4th string. Check all your notes, make sure they're clean. That goes to F. You add the index finger to the 1st fret of the 3rd string. If you need help following along with this stuff, there are tabs and chord charts on the free lesson page on my website. Should be helpful. All right, so after that, you go to C, ring finger, 3rd fret, 1st string. Then you go to D minor. We haven't done a lot of D minor yet. So you kind of make an F chord and you add the ring finger on the 2nd fret of the 3rd string. Take a good look there. Kind of get this guy right there, and you add that and that. A lot of times, again, I'll turn my arm just a little bit like this. So you see that kind of points my fingers diagonally, and then when I extend them, they can go down the neck, kind of slide up and down the neck like this. This lets me kind of get them really tight into this configuration. It's a really important feature to getting this to a really comfortable, tight thing where you can hear all 4 notes. So mess with that a bit, make sure you got a D minor really solid, and then just go through those 4 chords a few times and make sure they're comfortable. A minor, F, C to D minor. I'm going to pause real quick and let you just work on that until you feel like there's a good flow there, then we'll go on. Okay, awesome. So now that you kind of got those basic chords down, let's go to the chords for the next part, actually. Let's just go through all the chords of everything. The sort of pre-chorus has 4 chords in it. It goes E minor. It makes this diagonal line, 2, 3, 4, and your 3 strings. Then you're going to take that shape and sort of pick it up and move it over to B7. So you should be able to just go boop, boop, just pick it up and move it over. 4, 3, 2, and then you get your open 1st string down there. All right, then you go to an F. We've done this before. You can kind of just slide this back. Shouldn't be too bad. And then to G, which maybe we haven't done G yet. So if we haven't done G yet, the way I do it when I'm in C, I use the middle finger on the 2nd fret of the 3rd string, ring finger on the 3rd fret of the 2nd string, and the index on the 2nd fret of the 1st string. Some people find this fingering a little confusing. You can do a different one if you want to. I like this one in C because it lets me move around to the F really easily, and to the C. It just moves around really easily. So I'd say try this fingering if you can get it. Take a second, pause the video if you need to, and try to work it out. And then let's try just those 4 chords again. E minor first, then B7. Let's move it over. And slide back to the F. Turn around to the G. So now what I like to do a lot of times is a waffle. I like to go back and say, do you remember what the verse is? You know, what are the 4 chords of the verse? Go back in the video if you need to, look at that, do those again, and then do the then check the pre-chorus again. See if you got both of those parts in your head. We'll pause real quick, make sure you got both of those parts real clear, then we'll go on. Okay, cool. Now that we got that, now let's do the chorus. Chorus is only 4 chords as well. So you go F to C to G to A minor. All chords we've done so far in this song. It's just in a different order. F, then to C, to G, to A minor. So repeat that to yourself until you think you got it. Then what I want you to try to do, if you can, once without me, try to go through all 3 of those sections. Boom, boom, boom. See if you can remember everything. And then what I'm going to do is, if you pause the video and go ahead and try that, and then when you come back, I'm going to play through all 3, and we're going to see if we matched, right? Okay, sweet. Here we go. So you can play along with me if this will help. So the song starts out with A minor, goes to F, goes to C, and then D minor. And it'll loop that through the verses. For the pre-chorus, it goes E minor, B7, F, G. And then for the chorus, it goes F, C, G, A minor. And so, I mean, that's really most of the song. It's like the song plays with those chord progressions in a bunch of different ways, but it really just does those again and again. Bum, 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 again and again. Loops those ideas. So, now that we've got those in our heads, we are going to, let's start to look at the strumming. So with this simplified version of things, we're just going to do the life-saving pattern. And the life-saving pattern goes like this. You go down, down, up, skip, up, down, up. There's 6 strokes. Down, down, up, just go down, skip going down, up, down, up. If I count it, it goes like this. Down, I swear, numbers. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and I'll turn so you can see the strokes up a little better. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and there you go. So do that a couple times so you'll feel like you got it solid. Then I'm going to try to loop it. I'm going to do that a couple times in a row, a little quicker. See if you can stay with me, or you can use YouTube to speed it up or slow it down. Whatever you want to do. Here we go. Ready? 2, 3, here we go. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1, 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. Okay, so go over that a couple times. I'm going to pause the video here if you want to, or you can pause it. Just whatever you need to do to make sure that chord progression is real solid. Then we're going to start to put it together with the chords. Okay, here we go. Awesome. Excuse me. Let's get to it. So the way it works with this first part is that we have to split the second pattern to do the chord change. So we do one whole pattern on the A minor. We're like down, down, up, skip, up, down, up, and we start again, down, down, up, and then right after this, during the skip is kind of when we change, because we go up, down, up on our next chord. So the last 3 strokes of the first 2 patterns is on the new chord. So I'll show you that one more time. Here we go. Down, skip, down, up, skip, up, down, second pattern, down, skip, down, up, change, up, down, up, and then we're on the next chord. Down, skip, down, up, skip, up, down, up, second pattern, skip, down, up, change, up, down, down. So if you need to, go over that part a couple times really slowly. You can do it without the video, just out of time at your own pace. Or you can play with the video, speed it up or slow it down, whatever you need to do. But just try to make sure you can change the chords in the right place. That's a really critical thing, is make sure that you hit that second chord. The second and fourth chords, you're going to hit them on an upstroke first. It's a little confusing for some people, but that's a really key thing I want you to try to do. So, all right. So all that's going to happen. Then, okay. So when we get to the pre-chorus, we basically just do one pattern on each chord. We do E minor, down, down, up, down, up, B7, down, down, up, down, up, F, down, down, up, down, up, and on the G we just kind of whack it. So let's connect all that together kind of slowly. I'm going to go 1 and 2 and E minor first, down, skip, down, up, skip, up, down, skip, down, up, skip, up, down, judge. There you go. And then you keep going. So again, go over that part a few more times if you need to. Make sure your pendulum and your pattern are still solid. So now we're going to do something a little different on the chorus. We're going to do mutes. I mean, you could do the whole thing as just downstrokes. You can just go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 if you want to. And what he's going to do is he's going to do these downstrokes and he's going to make them staccato. He's going to make them short. So he's going to hit it and then use his fingers here to stop the chord as opposed to letting it ring forever. And what you get is this effect. Etc. That's kind of the idea. It's a little bit more of a groovy feel. So the way we get that is we're going to have to, I mean, like I said, I'll give you the simple way. The simple way would be you just go, you're the judge, 2, 3, oh, no, C, 2, 3, send me G, 1, 2, 3, 4, A minor, 2, 3, 4. You can just do that, and you're done. You're gooder than grits then. This is a little more challenging, but this will push you a little further. So if we want to learn the muting technique, what we got to learn how to do is how to mute all the strings from the chord position we're in. So there's two things we got to do. One, we got to take the tension off the strings. So rather than pushing, we can still touch the strings. In fact, we should, but we'd stop pushing. You see the tension go out of my fingers? Whoop, they just relax a little bit. And then if the note's ringing, it stops ringing because all the vibration gets absorbed by my kind of fleshy finger. It just goes, whoop, can't ring anymore. It's not the same as going. You see, you can very slightly hear the open string. We don't want that. We want to hear it to be quiet. So now if I do that with a whole chord, see, I'm stopping 2 of the notes, but this one and this one are still ringing. So in addition to letting the tension go in those, I'm also going to lean over. And so watch the way I do this. This is really useful. You do this with some different types of chord shapes in different ways. With like an A minor or an F chord, what you do is you kind of just break your wrist a little bit. You just go weep, weep. It's almost like you're doing almost like It's like if you're doing like little wrist curls as if that were a thing. Let's say you were trying to become really, really strong in your arms or something. You just did wrist curls. So that's how you would do it. You basically just do like a little wrist curl. Boop. You don't want to do much else because anything else is going to break your mechanics. So I push the chord, I slacken the fingers, and then I go boop. And what that does is, you see how that lays the fingers down? Boop, lays the fingers down. And I go ahead, I can let my thumb come around if you want. That can help a little bit. Just in case you miss this one, it can kind of mute that too. So that's good. So try doing that at first. Stop. Or you can take an A minor chord, maybe a little easier. A minor. And then mute. A minor, mute. Do that a few times on your own. Just take a few times to get used to those mechanics on your own. Okay, awesome. Now that you've kind of felt your way into that a bit and you're starting to get it, now let's try it with the C, because the F and the A minor are kind of the same. And the C is a little different. So I'm going to use the ring finger here for the C. And I've got these fingers kind of hanging out here. They don't have a lot to do. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to kind of flatten them out over the strings this way. And then I'm going to let this finger relax. That stops that note. These fingers, when I do that, they're going to go down and touch the strings. They're not going to push. We don't want that. We don't want that. We want to go, why don't you just touch the strings real lightly and suck up the sound. So watch what that looks like from the side. Go ahead, try that a few times yourself until it feels comfortable. I'll pause if you need to. Okay, awesome. So now that you kind of got the C and the F, or if you need to kind of review the F or the A minor and what those feel like, go ahead and do that. Make sure you can go ahead and go C, mute, C, mute, F, mute, F, mute. If this is easy, you can go on. If you're not really sure that you've got it yet, or this is the first time doing it, take some time. Really feel your way into it until you can. In fact, what's better to do is just start with these two chords. and try to make this mute really, really, really snappy. Watch what I'm going to do to make this really snappy. I'm going to hit the C chord and then try to mute as quickly after as I can. See how I do this? Real fast. And you want to be able to do the same with the F. You want to just barely hear it. It shouldn't be too short. It shouldn't be like, that's too short. That's too short. That's just right. You can hear it, get through, and then you're like, because when you really do this song, you want it to be real tight. You want it to be kind of like this. That's kind of what you want in the end. So you want to practice making the mute really, really tight. So take the chords you've done and try to get them tight. Get that first, and then I'm going to show you how to mute the G. Okay, so real quickly I'm going to show you the mute for the G. There's two main ways you can do this. So when you're playing a G chord, you've got fingers on 3 of the strings. But this one over here might not want to cooperate as easily. So these 3 you can just let go. But you hear that one still ringing? That string's still ringing. So there's 2 kind of easy, well, I suppose there's 3 really easy ways to mute it. One of them is you can sort of wrap the thumb around. If you got big enough hands, you can just go, you can use the thumb and go boop and get it that way. So you kind of break the wrist a little bit so the thumb can go around, but you also kind of curl the thumb just a little bit at this joint. That works pretty well. Another thing you can do is you can take one of these 3 fingers and kind of flatten it out. A lot of times I don't love to do this in a situation like this, but you can take, let's see, actually with the ring finger it's not too bad. I don't love it when you have to go real fast like this, but if you got time, just taking one of these fingers and just, you know, taking it out of position, and then, you know, a lot of times what I do it with is if I keep the index really, really close, instead of like pushing it over here, I push it really, really close to the G string, then all I got to do is sort of just extend it just the littlest bit. See how I can just kind of, when I break my wrist, I just let that last little joint, look what I do. Let that last little joint just go. That's all I got to do. It's a very subtle movement, but especially when you get a little more advanced, that becomes really useful, especially if you ever transfer to guitar. It's a really important way to mute the bass strings, so that's really useful if you want. So that's another way you could do it. And then maybe the easiest for this, is the way I'd actually do it in this case, is I just have the pinky. See how the pinky's kind of hovering above everything its way across, and I just drop the pinky down. You can do this with almost any chord on the ukulele. Play the chord, and then you release the fingers, and the pinky comes down as like insurance. And again, it doesn't push, it just lightly rests. So the pinky is probably, you really got to get it in the right place. There we go. That's pretty tight. That'll do. So there you go. Those are the different chords you can mute. And like I said, you don't have to do it this way, but it's really funky if you do. So it's worth it to start practicing this. Lots of songs mute this way. It's very worth it to practice. So what I will do is I will slowly play through the muting of the chorus. Whichever technique you chose and you practiced a little bit on each of the chords, we will try to go through that way. If you didn't practice it on all the chords, review your muting on all 4 chords for sure. Then we're going to practice the muting of the chorus together. Okay, awesome. Here we go. So, remember the chords are C, G, it's F, C, G, A minor. There we go. Yeah, F, C, G, A minor. So we're going to do 4 of each of those, and we're going to go bup, bup, tight mutes on each one. If you want to, while you're still getting used to it, you can do them kind of half speed. You can be like 1 and 2 and 3 and. I'm going to do them really tight, but I'll count 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. If you want to try to go 1 and, yeah, actually that's a slight lie. Let's do the muting all on the ands for now, unless you're feeling really confident. I'll mute them on the ands. And then, when we do the fast version through, you can slow it down if you need to hear the tight muting, but on the next version, when I go through the whole song and I sing the words, then I'll do the fast muting and you can try it there. This is an easier way to build it up, though. So we're going to count it 1 and 2 and 3. F is first. Here we go. 1 and 2 and 3 and C is next. C, mute, C, mute, C, mute, C, mute, G, mute, G, mute, 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. Starting over. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 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 there you go. So if you need to, go back and speed that up or slow it down to really get used to that. This is a motion that some people get really quickly, some people take a little bit longer. And it's really worth it to go as slow as you need to get it comfortable and clean. Because if you get it slow, you'll get it fast not too long after. But you really need to get it really well slow first. That's really important. So do what you need to do to get that. All right, so now I'm going to go through and I'm going to play all of those parts at tempo. I'm going to play them at the tempo of the song. I'm going to sing the words, everything, whole 9 yards. And if you are ready, you can try to play it at that tempo too. If you need to slow it down, you can use the YouTube app to slow this down. So you can play along, but not at the real speed of the song. Because this real song goes pretty quick. So as much as you need, you can go back to other parts and work them a little more, or go to other songs in this series and work on those, because they'll help you with just doing the chords better and doing the muting and just like the strumming. Everything will get better. Every song you do makes your whole technique better. And then when you come back to something like this, you might be ready for it. But if you want to give it a shot now, here we go. Slight warning, if you play this part along with the record, you'll notice that the second part of the verse cycle holds the C chord. I'm not going to do that here. I'm just going to kind of rip through it. Next version of the song that I do, I'm going to go through all those details. So, all right, for now, we're just going to rip it. Here we go. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4. Na, 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 oh, oh. Na, 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 oh, oh. Na, 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 oh, oh. When the leader of the bad guys sang something soft and soaked in pain, I heard the echo from his secret hideaway. He must have forgot to close his door as he rang out those dismal chords, and those four walls declared him insane. I found my way to right side, wrong place as I played my case. You're the judge, oh no, set me free. You're the judge, oh no, set me free. You know my soul's bleeding, hell's hot for good reason. So please take me. Na, 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 oh, oh. Na, 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 oh, oh. Na, 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 oh, oh. All right, there we go. So, hope you found this useful. If you like this, try some of the other songs in the series. Try taking the 20-hour ukulele challenge, especially if you're a beginner. Great way to get started on the instrument. But yeah, thanks for hanging with me and hope to see you in another lesson soon. Catch you later. Bye-bye.